Welcome back, queens. Have you ever felt that sharp, sinking pain in your chest when he chooses her over you? That gut-wrenching moment when you realize the man you gave your heart to has decided that someone else is worth his time, his effort, his love, while you were left standing there questioning everything. You stare at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes. You replay every conversation, every moment, wondering what you did wrong. But the truth? You did nothing wrong. And more importantly, you are not the one who lost. He is. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And right now, your thoughts might be filled with pain, doubt, anger. But don't let that consume you. Don't let this moment define you, because this is not your downfall. This is your awakening. This is the moment where you stop waiting, stop questioning, and start teaching him a lesson he will never forget. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with something far more powerful: your silence, your absence, and your unstoppable transformation. He thinks he made the right choice. He thinks that by walking away, by choosing her, by treating you like you were just another option, he won. But let me tell you something he doesn't know yet. A man never truly appreciates what he had until he realizes he can never have it again. He expects you to break. He expects you to beg, to cry, to ask for another chance. But queens, you do not beg for love. You are love. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Think of the sun. The sun does not chase. The sun does not dim itself for anyone. It rises, it shines, it dominates the sky. And those who turn their backs on it, they are the ones left in the cold, in the darkness, wishing they had appreciated its warmth while they still had it. That is you. He turned his back on something rare, something irreplaceable. He made his choice. Now you make yours. And your choice is not to fight for him, not to prove your worth, not to convince him that you were the better woman. Your choice is to rise so high that he has no choice but to watch from below, knowing he can never reach you again. Because here's the truth he will soon learn: the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop proving, the moment you disappear from his world, he will feel it. He will look at her and wonder why something still feels missing. He will replay the way you loved him, the way you stood by him, the way you were willing to give him everything, and he will realize she will never be you. And by the time he realizes, it will be too late, because you won't be there waiting for him to wake up. You won't be sitting in the shadows, hoping he comes back. You will be thriving, you will be glowing, you will be untouchable. And that, queens, is the most painful lesson of all, the lesson that he had something extraordinary, and he let it go. But this isn't just about making him regret his choice. This is about you. This is about stepping into the power you forgot you had. This is about choosing yourself first, because the moment you do that, the world will follow. You do not need to beg to be seen, to be loved, to be chosen. You are the prize. And a real man, a man who is worthy of you, he will know that. He will never put you in a position where you have to question your worth. A queen does not ask to be chosen. A queen does not chase. A queen does not wait in the background, hoping a man will realize what he had. Number A. Queen reigns. A queen knows that if he was foolish enough to choose someone else, then he was never strong enough to stand beside her in the first place. And now, it's time. Time to show him. Time to show the world. Time to show yourself who you truly are. The woman who does not beg. The woman who does not compete. The woman who does not wait for a man to wake up and see her worth. You already know your worth. And from this moment forward, you will walk in it. Unapologetically, unshaken, unstoppable. Queens, this is your moment. The moment you take back everything and more. The moment you step into the life you were always meant to live. The moment you stop thinking about him, about her, about what was lost, because you're too busy building something greater. And when he looks back, when he finally sees the woman he let go, he will realize something he never thought possible. He lost you forever. Write this in the comments and claim it. I do not beg. I do not chase. I reign. Let the world know that from this moment on, you are done waiting, done proving, done breaking yourself for a man who never deserved you in the first place. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe. Because we are here, building an empire of unstoppable women and queens, we rise together. Number 1. The throne. He abandoned becomes the one he can never reclaim. Why do men always realize too late? Why do they only see a woman's worth after she's already gone? He had you. He had your love, your loyalty, your heart. But instead of cherishing it, he made a choice to leave, a choice to walk away, a choice to believe that someone else could replace you. But here's where he failed. The throne he abandoned is the one he will never reclaim. And by the time he understands this, you will be too far ahead for him to ever reach again. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." And his ambition, it was weak. It was blind. He thought he could trade something rare for something easy. He thought you were just another woman, one he could put aside, one he could replace. But a man who abandons a queen does not get another chance to sit beside her. He does not get to return to a throne he willingly gave up. Right now, he feels in control. Right now, he thinks he made the right decision. He believes the new woman in his life is everything he wants. But reality is cruel, because the moment he begins to compare, the moment he realizes the difference between your depth and her surface, the moment he sees that what he left behind was not just a woman, but a once-in-a-lifetime presence, that is the moment he will regret it all. But by then, the gates will be closed, and no amount of begging, no amount of apologies, no amount of "I made a mistake" will bring him back to where he once stood. Think of a crown. A crown does not lower itself to fit on just any head. It does not chase the one who threw it aside. A crown waits for the one strong enough, worthy enough to carry its weight. And if a man was too blind, too foolish to see what he had, then he was never strong enough to deserve it in the first place. You are that crown. You are not here to be handed from one man to another, hoping to be chosen. You are the prize. The one who left? He made his choice. Now, let him live with it. The biggest lesson a man can ever learn is not through words, not through anger, not through trying to prove anything. It is through absence. When you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop waiting, that is when the weight of his choice will crush him. He will see you moving on. He will see your glow returning. He will watch from the distance, realizing that the throne he walked away from is no longer his to claim. And that is the pain he will never recover from. Because one day he will wake up and realize, she is not you. She will never be you. She will not love him like you did. She will not fight for him the way you did. She will not have the fire, the presence, the strength that made you irreplaceable. He will try to convince himself that he's fine, that he made the right decision, but deep down, he will know, and he will regret. But you won't care, because by then you will have stepped into a power so fierce, so untouchable, that even if he tried to return, he would not recognize the woman he once knew. You are not the same. You have risen beyond his reach, beyond his regrets, beyond his desperate thoughts of what if. This is not about him anymore. This is about you. This is about finally seeing yourself for what you have always been. Unstoppable, unshaken, unforgettable. A queen does not wait for a man to recognize her worth. She knows it. She lives it. She embodies it. And once she does, she never looks back. Number 2. The diamond he took for granted now blinds him from afar. Have you ever watched someone throw away something precious, thinking it was just another ordinary thing? Have you ever seen a man hold a diamond in his hands and treat it like a piece of glass, only to realize later, when it's too late, that he had something priceless? That's exactly what happened when he chose her over you. He had something rare, something irreplaceable, something that most men spend a lifetime searching for, but he didn't see it. He didn't value it. And now, the very thing he took for granted shines so brightly from afar that it blinds him with regret. A fool knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. That's him. He thought you were like every other woman. He thought he could find another you, someone who could love him the way you did, someone who would stand by his side with the same loyalty, the same fire, the same depth. But what he doesn't understand yet, what he will soon learn the hard way, is that women like you are not found. Women like you are once in a lifetime. And when a man loses something that rare, he doesn't just move on. He suffers in silence. Right now, he may think he made the right choice. He may believe that she is what he wants. But queens, let me tell you something about men. They do not recognize value until it is gone. And when he finally looks back, when the excitement fades, when he starts comparing, that's when the pain begins. He will see you, stronger, glowing, untouchable, and the woman he once took for granted will now be the woman he cannot reach. That is the lesson. That is the regret that will eat him alive. Imagine a man holding a diamond in his hand. At first he admires it, fascinated by its brilliance, but over time he stops noticing. He gets used to its sparkle. He takes it for granted. And then he makes the biggest mistake of his life. He trades it for something else, something easier, something that does not require effort to keep. A cheap crystal, something that only shines for a moment under artificial light. But one day he walks by window and he sees his diamond again. This time it's not in his hands. This time it's placed in a setting so grand, so magnificent, that it catches the light and blinds him with its brilliance. He squints, he looks closer, and in that moment, he realizes what he lost. But by then, it's too late. The diamond is no longer his to claim. That is exactly what is about to happen. He will see you, standing taller, moving forward, no longer waiting, no longer questioning, and it will hit him like a storm, the realization that no one else will ever shine the way you did. She may have his time now, but she will never have what you had with him, because love like yours does not come twice. And even if he never admits it, even if he never says the words out loud, he will compare every woman to you, and none of them will ever be enough. But here's where everything changes. You don't wait for that moment. You don't sit around hoping he sees what he lost. You rise. You become the woman who no longer looks back. You become so powerful, so radiant, so sure of yourself that when he finally wakes up and realizes his mistake, the only thing left for him to do is watch. A queen does not lower herself to be chosen. A queen does not dim her light, so a weak man can feel comfortable. And queens, that is exactly who you are becoming. A woman who does not chase, a woman who does not beg, a woman who knows that her worth was never something to be debated. And when you stand in that power, when you walk away with grace instead of anger, with silence instead of pleading, he will feel that loss deeper than any words could ever make him understand. Let him watch. Let him feel the absence of your love. Let him live with the weight of his own choice, because he had a diamond and he let it go. And now, that diamond blinds him from afar, shining brighter than ever, in a place he can never reach. Number 3. A fire that no longer warms will one day be the fire he misses. Have you ever noticed how a fire burns the brightest when it's fed, but the moment it's ignored, it slowly fades away? You were that fire. You gave him warmth, passion, and love that could have lasted forever. But instead of cherishing it, he walked away. He chose her, thinking the fire would stay, thinking you would keep waiting, keep burning for him. But he doesn't know what happens when a fire is left unattended. It dies out. And once it's gone, nothing can bring it back. He thought you were his constant, that your love would always be there. He took your presence for granted, never stopping to think that one day you might stop caring, stop trying, stop giving. But now, the warmth he once had is gone. And what is left? The cold, the emptiness, the regret. Because one day he will feel the difference. He will realize that no matter how many hands he holds, no matter how many lips he kisses, no one will ever make him feel the way you did. But by then, it will be too late. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Right now, your pain feels like an obstacle, but it is actually your path. This heartbreak is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. You will rise from this stronger than ever, untouchable, unforgettable. The love you gave was not ordinary, and that is why he will search for it in her, but he will never find it. Imagine a bonfire on a cold night. It provides warmth, light, comfort. But if someone walks away from it, thinking they can find the same fire somewhere else, they soon realize their mistake. Because not all fires burn the same. Some are weak, temporary, fleeting. But yours was rare. And now that he has turned his back on it, he will feel the cold like never before. Right now, he believes he made the right choice. He believes that the newness, the excitement, the thrill of being with her is everything he needs. But time will teach him a painful truth. New does not always mean better. Passion fades when it is built on weak foundations. And one day, he will sit in the silence of his own choices, remembering the fire that once kept him warm. He will remember the way you looked at him, the way you loved him, the way you stood by him when no one else did. And when he finally realizes what he lost, he will reach for it, only to find it gone forever. But you are not waiting. You are not standing in the ashes, hoping he turns back, because you have become something greater, a force, a light, a fire that no longer burns for him. You burn for yourself now. You're stepping into your power, into your own story, into a future that no longer includes a man who was foolish enough to walk away. Queens, hear this truth. A fire that no longer warms will one day be the fire he misses. He will remember you in every moment of loneliness. He will think of you when love feels empty. He will feel the absence of your warmth every time he reaches for something that does not ignite his soul the way you did. And when that moment comes, he will wish he had stayed. He will wish he had chosen differently. But by then, you will have already built a life where he is nothing but a lesson. So now you rise. Now you glow. You are not his to miss. You are your own to cherish. Let him feel the cold. Let him wonder. Let him regret. Because the greatest revenge is not anger, not words, not proving anything to him. It is your absence, your success, your unstoppable rise. Number 4. The silence he ignored will haunt him louder than any words ever could. Have you ever noticed how the loudest pain comes from the silence that follows, when the messages stop, when the calls go unanswered, when the one who used to crave your presence now barely remembers to acknowledge it? At first, it stings. It feels like rejection, like abandonment, like proof that you were never enough. But what if I told you that this silence, the very thing that feels like your greatest loss, will become your most powerful weapon? Right now, he believes he has won. He believes that by choosing her, by walking away, by acting like you no longer exist, he has control. He expects you to react. He expects tears. He expects desperate messages, late-night calls, one last attempt to prove that you are worth his time. But here's what he doesn't see coming. You are not going to give him the reaction he wants. You are not going to fight for a place in his life. Instead, you are going to do the one thing that will haunt him for the rest of his days. You are going to disappear. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." And what is he expecting? A woman who begs, a woman who breaks, a woman who tries to hold on to what was already slipping through her fingers. But that is not you. You are not here to convince him of your worth. You are not here to compete with her. You are here to teach him a lesson that he will feel in the deepest parts of his soul, a lesson that words could never deliver. And that lesson is the weight of your absence. Think of an echo. When you shout into the mountains, the sound bounces back. It reaches far. It returns with force. But what happens when there is nothing left to hold it? The sound dies. It disappears into nothing. That is what happens when you stop explaining, stop proving, stop giving him your energy. He will reach for your presence and find nothing but silence. He will expect you to be there, just like always. But for the first time, he will feel what it means to truly lose you. And when the silence sets in, when the realization finally hits, it will be too late. Right now, he believes that her attention, her presence, her validation will replace what he once had with you. He believes that the choice he made was the right one. But as the days pass, as the newness fades, as the moments he once took for granted with you no longer exist, he will start to feel the emptiness. He will start to compare, to question, to wonder if he made a mistake. And the worst part? He will know that he can never go back. Because you are already gone. But let me make one thing clear. This is not about him. This is not about waiting for him to regret, waiting for him to see your value, waiting for him to crawl back. This is about you. This is about choosing yourself so fiercely that you never again settle for a man who made you feel like an option. This is about stepping into a new version of yourself, one that does not chase, does not plead, does not shrink, to fit into a space that was never worthy of her in the first place. Because a queen does not explain why she is valuable. A queen does not remind a man of what he lost. A queen lets the silence do the talking. And trust me, that silence will echo in his mind for years to come. It will replay in the spaces where your laughter used to fill the room. It will creep in when he's lying next to her, feeling a void he can't explain. It will be the lesson he never saw coming, the lesson he will never forget. This is your moment, the moment you take back your power, the moment you decide that your worth does not need to be spoken, it simply is. The moment you stop fighting for what was already lost and start becoming the woman who no longer waits. Because the most painful lesson he will ever learn is that he could have had you, but he was foolish enough to let you go. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. My silence will say what my words never could. Let the world know that from this moment on, you are done explaining, done proving, done chasing. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the strength that has always been inside you, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here to bring you the truth, the power, and the lessons that will set you free. Because you were never meant to beg, you were meant to reign. Number 5. He chose the illusion over the reality, and one day the illusion will fade. Have you ever watched a house built on sand? At first it looks solid. It stands tall, bright, new. But then the cracks start to show. The foundation shifts, and before anyone realizes it, the whole thing begins to collapse. That is exactly what happens when he chooses an illusion over reality. Right now, he thinks he made the right choice. He thinks she is better, that she offers something new, something more exciting. But what he doesn't see yet is that he did not build something real. He built a fantasy, and fantasies don't last. He was blinded by the illusion of something easier, something different. Maybe she gave him the attention you once fought for. Maybe she made him feel like a king without ever having to earn it. Maybe she fed his ego while you challenged him to be better. But what he doesn't understand is this. An illusion can only last for so long before the truth shatters it. And when that moment comes, when the shine fades and the cracks appear, he will realize that he left behind the only thing that was ever real, you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And what are his thoughts right now? He believes he has upgraded. He believes that choosing her over you was his victory. But his happiness is built on a weak foundation. And soon his own choices will come back to haunt him, because no matter how much he tries to convince himself, he will start to compare. He will search for your patience in her words. He will look for your strength in her silence. He will crave the depth of your love, only to find that she does not love the way you did. And that, queens, will be the lesson that cuts him the deepest. Think of a man lost in the desert. He sees water in the distance. He runs towards it, believing he has found salvation. But as he gets closer, he realizes it was never real. It was only a mirage, a trick of the mind, a cruel illusion. And by the time he looks back, by the time he realizes where the real oasis was, it is already too late. That is exactly what will happen to him. He ran towards the illusion, thinking it would satisfy him. But one day, when reality hits, when he wakes up and realizes what he lost, he will look back, only to find that you are already gone. But this is not just about him. This is about you. Because right now, you might feel the sting of betrayal. You might be questioning everything. Why wasn't I enough? What does she have that I don't? Why did he choose her? But hear this. His choice does not define your worth. His blindness does not mean you lacked value. A fool does not recognize a diamond when he is distracted by glass, and a man who trades something real for something temporary will always end up with nothing. This is where your power begins. This is where you rise. You do not wait for him to see what he lost. You do not sit in the shadows, hoping he wakes up. Because, queens, you are not an option waiting to be reconsidered. You are the one thing he will never get back. The moment you decide to move forward, to build your life, to embrace your strength, you become something he can never reach again. And that will be his greatest regret. He chose her. Let him live in his illusion. Let him think he won. Because one day, when reality crashes down, when he sees that she could never be you, when he realizes that the love you gave was once in a lifetime, he will come back. But by then, you will have already outgrown him. You will have built a life so radiant, so powerful, that he won't even have the courage to face you. He will be forced to watch from a distance, knowing that the woman he took for granted became the woman he can never have again. Queens, this is not your ending, it is your transformation. The illusion he chased will fade, but you will only rise. No more waiting, no more proving, no more questioning your worth. The time for heartbreak is over. Now is the time for victory. Write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I am not an option. I am the one he will never have again. Let the world know that you are done waiting for clarity, done waiting for him to wake up. Because while he is stuck in an illusion, you are already stepping into your reality. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of your power, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here to remind you of your worth, to help you rise, and to make sure you never forget. You were never meant to be chosen. You were meant to reign. Number 6. The road back to you will be the one he cannot walk. Have you ever noticed that people only realize what they had when it's already too late? That the moment you finally walk away, the moment you stop fighting for them, suddenly they remember you. Suddenly they start looking back, wondering if they made the right choice. But here's the truth. By the time he realizes what he lost, the road back to you will be the one he cannot walk. He thought he could walk away and return whenever he wanted. He believed you would always be there, waiting, hoping, holding space for him in your heart. But he doesn't know yet. The woman he left behind is not the same woman he will try to come back to. She has changed. She has grown. She has stepped into a version of herself that no longer needs him. Seneca once said, "While we wait for life, life passes." And while he was busy playing games, making choices that broke you, choosing her over you, you were evolving, becoming stronger, becoming untouchable. He wasted his chance, and now he has to live with it. Right now, he thinks he is in control. He thinks that if things don't work out with her, he can always find his way back to you. He believes you will always answer, always listen, always give him another chance. But he doesn't understand the kind of woman you are becoming. Because the moment a woman learns her worth, she never goes back to the man who made her question it. That door is closed, locked, and the key is buried where he will never find it. Think of a bridge, a strong, unshakable bridge that connected two places, allowing safe passage. You built that bridge with your love, your patience, your devotion. But when he chose her, when he turned his back on you, he burned it without realizing it. And now, when he looks back, when he finally understands what he lost, there will be nothing left but ashes. No way forward, no path back, no second chances. One day, he will sit with the weight of his choices. He will replay the way you loved him, the way you stood by him, the way you gave him more than he ever deserved. He will compare every woman to you and find them all lacking. He will wonder where you went, why you are no longer there, why your name lingers in his mind like a ghost he cannot escape. But by then, you will be too far gone, because you do not walk backward. You do not return to the same pain, the same betrayal, the same mistake. This is where everything changes. This is the moment where you stop waiting, stop hoping, stop believing that one day he will wake up and choose you. Because the truth is, a man who truly values you would never put you in a position to wonder where you stand. A man who loves you will not make you compete, will not risk losing you, will not take your presence for granted. And now it is time to rise. It is time to rebuild, not for him, but for you. He is no longer part of your journey. He is no longer part of your story. His chapter has ended, and now you are writing something new, something powerful, something unshakable, something that no man will ever take for granted again. Queens, listen to me. You are not the woman who waits for him to wake up. You are the woman who walks forward without looking back. You are the woman who builds a life so beautiful, so full, so radiant, that when he finally turns around he realizes he was nothing more than a lesson. And when he tries to come back, the only thing he will find is the silence of a woman who has already moved on. Write this in the comments and claim it. The road back to me no longer exists. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done hoping for a man who made the wrong choice. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the power you've always had, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you the truth, to remind you that you were never meant to be an option. You were meant to reign. Number 7. He will compare every woman to you, and they will all fall short. Have you ever noticed that the ones who leave always come back? Maybe not with words, maybe not with apologies, but they return in memories, in regrets, in the quiet moments when reality hits them harder than they ever expected. Right now, he thinks he's won. He thinks he's upgraded, that he's moved on to something better. But there's a truth about love, about attraction, about connection. A man never forgets the woman who truly saw him, who truly loved him, who gave him something real. And once he walks away from that, he will spend a lifetime searching for it in every other woman, only to find that none of them can compare to you. Seneca once said, "A great mind becomes great by embracing great challenges." And right now, this feels like a challenge, doesn't it? You're hurting, you're questioning everything. But what if I told you that this is not a loss? This is an opportunity. An opportunity to rise so high that he has no choice but to look up and regret the moment he ever thought he could replace you. Because the painful truth is this: he will try. He will go looking for another version of you. He will chase after the same kind of love, the same depth, the same connection. But love like yours, it doesn't happen twice. And the moment he realizes that, the moment he looks at her and doesn't feel what he once felt with you, that is the lesson he will never forget. Think of the rarest perfume, the kind that lingers long after the person has left the room, the kind that can't be duplicated, no matter how many cheap imitations exist. That is you. Your presence, your energy, your love, it stays. It is unforgettable, unmatched. And right now, he doesn't see it. But soon, he will. He will wake up one day and realize that she doesn't laugh like you do, that she doesn't understand him the way you did, that she doesn't make him feel like he could conquer the world just by being by her side. And when that moment comes, when he sees that every woman after you is just a shadow of what he once had. That is when he will feel the weight of his own mistake. But by then, you won't be there. You won't be sitting around waiting for him to wake up. Because, queens, you do not wait to be valued. You do not wait for a man to come back and realize your worth. You step into your power now. You take this pain, this moment, and you turn it into the fire that fuels your rise. He left? Good. Now nothing stands in your way. And here's the real lesson, the one he will never admit to himself. He will compare every woman to you, and every single one will fall short. Not because they aren't enough, but because you were never meant to be replaced. He didn't just lose a woman. He lost the rarest kind of love, the kind that makes men change, the kind that elevates, the kind that is once in a lifetime. And once it's gone forever. So don't break, don't beg, don't wait. Rise. Step into the life you were meant to have. Become the woman so powerful, so untouchable, that when he thinks of you, all he feels is regret. Not because you weren't good enough, but because he never deserved you in the first place. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. Every woman after me will fall short. Let the world know that you are done doubting, done waiting, done proving yourself to a man who made the wrong choice. And if this message lit something inside you, if it reminded you of who you are, then like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are here, working hard to bring you the lessons, the wisdom, the truth you need. Because queens do not beg. Queens do not chase. Queens reign. And now, it's your time. Number 8. The woman who walked away becomes the one he can never replace. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop chasing, stop begging, stop waiting, everything changes? He thought you would always be there, always reaching for him, always hoping he would choose you. He believed he could walk away, and you would still be standing where he left you. But he was wrong. And now he will learn the hardest lesson of his life. The woman who walked away becomes the one he can never replace. A man never realizes what he had until he watches it slip through his fingers. Right now, he thinks he made the right choice. He thinks that by choosing her, by walking into someone else's arms, he won. But what he doesn't know, what he will soon understand, is that no one will ever love him the way you did. No one will ever see him the way you saw him. He traded something real for something easy. He chose the illusion over the reality. And one day, he will wake up and realize that nothing feels the same. Seneca once said, "What nature has in store for us is more joyful than what we seek." And this is where he will feel the deepest regret. Because what he sought in her, excitement, novelty, escape, will fade. What once seemed new will become ordinary. And in that silence, in that emptiness, he will remember you. He will remember the way your presence felt like home, the way your love made him feel like the best version of himself. And he will compare every woman to you, only to find that no one else is you. Think of a rare painting in a museum, one that people travel the world just to see. It is one of a kind, irreplaceable. Now imagine if someone took it down and replaced it with a copy, a cheap imitation. At first, people might not notice the difference. They might still gather, still admire. But over time, the truth becomes clear. The depth, the detail, the uniqueness, it's missing. And suddenly, what was once admired feels empty, meaningless. That is what will happen to him. He will look at her, and though he won't say it out loud, he will know she is not you. But by the time he understands, you will be gone. You will not be the woman who waits. You will not be the woman who cries over a man who could not see her worth. Because, queens, This is where you step into your power. This is where you stop looking back and start walking forward, with your head high and your heart unshaken. He expects you to be broken. He expects you to be watching his life, wondering what could have been. But instead, you are thriving. You are glowing. You are building a life so powerful, so beautiful, so undeniable, that when he finally looks for you, he won't even recognize the woman you have become. And that, queens, is the most painful lesson of all, because you are not replaceable. He may find another woman. He may try to build something new, but deep down, he will know he let go of something he can never get back. And while he drowns in the regret of his own choices, you will rise. You're not shattered, you're a force of nature. This is your moment to take back everything and more. Look in the mirror and see the unstoppable warrior staring back. He left you, but you're still here, stronger, fiercer, and unshaken. The time for tears is over. Now is the time for triumph. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. I am the woman he can never replace. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done holding on to someone who was too blind to see your worth. And if this message lit a fire inside you, if it reminded you of the power you've had all along, like this video and subscribe. We are here, working hard to bring you life-changing lessons, because you were never meant to beg, you were meant to reign.